Guys, what's up? Superboy Chuckles back at it again, and this time we're taking a look at something a little bit different. We have the ASG X3 AUG Commando. So in the 70s and the 60s, Austria was looking for a replacement for their FALs, and so they designed, Steyr designed the AUG in its normal configuration. This is the X3, which is a much more tactical version rather than any sort of standard version you've seen before. This is a relatively newer offering, but definitely more modern, and is going to appeal to a lot of people that are trying to be CQB in here. It's a great option. So I'm going to run it down for you real quick. So starting at the front, you have the federally mandated orange tip. If you want to swap it out for maybe a tracer unit or something, you have to be very careful. It is 14 mil counterclockwise. However, between the top rail system and the lower rail system, you run into an issue where you have a very small tolerance. So you're likely only going to be able to put an aftermarket flash hider on. I don't think the G&G, the UVT might fit in there though. Or the Ace Tech lighter will fit because it has the extension. Cool feature. You have the bottom rail system, which is attached to the barrel. It comes with this standard style grip. It is aluminum, really solid. The thing isn't going to go anywhere no matter what you do with it. But you could put an angled grip or hand stop or whatever you want underneath. It's CQB, so you'll be able to do whatever you want. Up top, you have a monolithic upper rail. It is one big chunk of metal, but it's not too heavy. Included are iron sights, adjustable for windage. Really cool, really nice feature. But they're also low profile, so if you're on a higher profile optic, like a T1 or an EOTech, you'll be able to see over it, no problem. You have, on the left side of the gun, you have the charging handle. It pulls back to reveal the hop-up. Very nice feature. If you take a look at the hop-up, you can access it from the right side, and oh boy, surprise, you can do it from the left side too. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Comes with this rubber cover. So if you're a righty, you want to boop, 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 or if you're a lefty and you want to boop, 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 you can do that. Perfectly super cool feature, and it just goes right in. Or you can keep them both exposed, and of course the slap, but we will be gentle. Yes. You have 4 20mm accessory rails, so you have one on the right side upper, one on the right side lower, one on the left side lower, and then right up next to this top rail here. So if you have lights, lasers, maybe an offset optic, if you felt really ridiculous someday, you could do that as well. Pretty easy to manage. Head back, you have the safety. Now this is accessible from either side, so no matter what you're doing, you can manipulate it to fire it or not with your hand. It'll just rest pretty good. If it is sticking out to the right side, it is on safe. If it is on the left, it's on fire. Now you're gonna ask, does it have semi and auto? Yes, it does. How does it do that? It doesn't have a selector. Well, I'm glad you asked that question, my very perceptive audience. The AUG functions off a 2-stage trigger. So how that works is the first pull, you can just pull normally. It won't change in tension. That'll be semi. So you can hammer on that a little bit and that'll be fine. But the good thing about the ASG AUG that other AUGs have issues with is when you pull it back, you're going to really feel the difference in tension and pull between auto and not auto. So semi is pretty good. Auto, you really have to pull back and mean it. So that's good. If you were worried about having trigger issues, you could do something that I saw that Brain Exploder does, where he actually drilled a hole. This is hollow, drilled a hole through it, put a pin in there so he could hammer it on semi all day and have no issues accidentally slipping in a full auto. Here you have the pin a little bit further back. You pop that pin out, you could pop off the entire upper receiver from the lower. So if you per se had a sniper variant or a full length variant that you wanted to do, you had a phantom kit or something like that, you could totally just throw that on here, swap it out, no biggie. Going back further, you have the magazine. The magazine releases directly behind it. It's accessible from either side. What I would do, push my thumb up, pull the magazine down, reload, magazine up. The one problem you do run into, if you don't seat it right, it's gonna get stuck. Gotta make sure you do that. The magazine is not a standard M4 style, even though it's 5.56. It does use its proprietary magazine. They have 330 round high caps, but you can also get mid caps rating from anywhere from 60 rounds to 100 rounds. So not too bad. Still a really solid option. They're accessible. They're lightweight. You don't have to worry about any metal mags, which are dumb sometimes. You have a sling point to the rear, which is really cool. It's solid. It's a QD as well, so you can just pop that bad baby off if it's just rattling around. And you can also swap it to the other side. If you pulled out the assembly, you could just swap. So you could do righty or lefty. A lot of this rifle is ambi, so that's good. Battery is stored in the back of the receiver, so you remove the butt pad. Boom, take that off. And the battery goes right here. I'd recommend like a 7.4 or an 11.1. An 8.4 or 9.6, you'll be hard pressed to fit in there. You could do it, but I'd recommend just getting something with a little more oomph. These guys are ready to go for a little more love out the gate. Internally, the AUG boasts a version 3 gearbox. It uses its own proprietary nozzle. The trigger assembly is also based back there, so it's a little bit different. But because it's a version 3, you can definitely upgrade the thing to whatever specs you want. Aluminum nozzles, upgraded pistons, motors, all that stuff. Cool thing is that this also boasts, if you remove that rear butt pad that's rubberized, there's a plate in there that you could just do, Phillips heads, pull out, and you access the back of the gearbox. So you can quick change the spring. So these guys stock are shooting about 375. So if you're indoors, that's not good. But you can quick change the spring right at the back, Allen key, just done. Buy a lower power spring, to throw it in this guy, and you're good to go for indoors. But if you need to, swap it for outdoors. It doesn't matter. You can do either or, and it's at least relatively quicker than pulling it apart in M4. I'll tell you that much. Rate of fire looking at these guys is around 15 rounds a second, so not too horribly great, but, you know, enough that it could keep some heads down. So with the AUG, it is a different weapons platform, so you do have to try to do something a little bit newer with the mechanics. However, a lot of the stuff is similar to an M4, much to people that complain about everything, and they're just like, wow, the AUGs are the worst. But a lot of it's the same stuff. Like, you're still reloading mostly the same way. The only addition is you have to do that, but it's not so bad. People just make a bigger deal out of it as it is. Just as with anything, you're learning new motor mechanics. You're adjusting to the weapon, and that's perfectly fine. Good thing is this guy's got a rail. It's compact, so the barrel actually goes all the way back here, which is the advantage of the bullpup. So if you're outdoors, you're going to have a little bit better of a time than you would with a standard. I mean, this barrel might be about the length of pretty close to a full M16 length barrel, which is pretty good. So it's really great. A lot of the weight's in the back, so it's nice to manage with one hand if you need to, which you will. Reloading and everything. Get used to that. It'll be no problem. I think the AUGs are cool. Definitely underrated. Got to see a few more of them on the airsoft field. So if you thought about picking up an AUG, the AUG A3 XS Commando is the way to go. They also make these in tan. They also do a Cryptek tan and Cryptek black of these guys. So make sure you keep your eyes. We can get anything that you want here in store. To see more content like this, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube if you haven't already. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. See all our upcoming events. And check out our online store at extremeairsoftri.com. Other than that, it's been your boy Chuckles, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm incompetent. Somebody fire me.
You're fired.
I quit. You can't fire me because I quit.